Alright, welcome back. We have another special little guest here for us today. CMP has just been out there in game lately. So, as you can see, CMP case. And, yeah, I ordered this back in April. They did not confirm the order until May. And then I was supposed to get this in early August, then mid-August, then late August, then early September, then October, then late October, then early November, and now here it is towards the end of November, and I finally got it. Which, according to their latest estimates on the website, I shouldn't even have it yet, because now it should be until December, like late December. But, and that's what happens. You have a small number of people and a finite number of guns to work on. So, without further ado, here we go. My very own 1911 A1. And this is just how they come. They have this nice little cutout. You get one 7-round magazine. These are usually brand new. And then you get the gun itself with a little tag here. So with this one, you can see it has a service grade. That is their highest grade that they currently have. They have service, field, rack, and then they also, for these, did have range grade, but those are sold out. Range grade were really meant for more of shooters than collectors. Service grade is the best. These are currently going for $1,300. For $1,200 you have the field grade, and then the rack grade are $1,100. So, now that I've got that covered for you, then you may also notice it's got the slide is a Colt, the frame is a Remington. So that is also very common with these. A lot of the internals are not going to be original to the gun. You're going to mix and match parts a lot. The other one of these I have gotten to look at was a couple years ago. It was an Ithaca slide on a Remington body. Made in 44, I think. This one was made in 45. At least the frame. The slide, not sure, but it does have Colt horse on it, which I like. And honestly, it's really smooth, really nice. Marked with the 107 on there. Not sure exactly what that's about or where these grips came from, but yeah. And then going deeper in here, this big old hunk of chunk of foam. This is just the receipt and whatnot. You get a coupon for holsters. Definitely gonna have to look into that. The little lock, a chamber flag, certificate of authenticity, and the manual, which take those out so it can all lay flat. Now we got the case done. And also, unlike the 1917, if you're one of the handful of people who bothered to watch that video, these have to go to an FFL. These cannot be shipped to your home unless you yourself have an FFL, which I envy you. But here we go. As you can see, it's in pretty darn good shape. You do have some finish wear. They do oil these up very nicely, so you can see that. Some parts of these are going to be commercial replacement. Some are going to be parts swapped out of other old guns. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could go and, you know, test and find out exactly what's new, what's old. I'm guessing the safety lever, pin, and the hammer are probably new commercial parts, because they're black, whereas the rest of this is parkerized. Though this does have this little line. Okay, you should be able to see that. It goes around that part of this is lighter. So, yeah. I'm going to have to get this out to the range this week and see how it does. But it's in real good shape. Barrel's nice. Probably much newer than the rest of the gun because the rifling is basically brand new in there. And they do a real nice job of getting everything oiled up. And it has the, hope you can read that, U.S. property marked M1911A1, U.S. Army, the actual serial number, which tells me this was made in 1945. So from that range, I'm thinking probably early-ish 1945, but I have no way of knowing. I could try to cosplay now as Sergeant York, because I still have trusty 1917 to hand. I mean, yeah, he had an actual 1911. This is 1911A1. That designation switched over in 1926 with a couple of improvements. Most obvious ones being the sights. The rear sight was, I do believe, rounded in the middle there. The front sight had no serrations, which on this one, they're just real minimal. But I don't even think they show up on camera at all, but running my finger over it, I can feel them. They also extended the little hand guard here, the beaver tail, to keep your fat hand out of the way. And they also reduced the size of the hammer spur, because on the originals they were causing a lot of bites. They also put in these relief cuts because they moved the trigger further back for people with smaller hands. But that's how you can, oh, and the curve here, the originals had just a straight back. This fits a hand better. So that's how you can tell at a glance. If you see anything with a hump like that and someone tells you it was a World War I vintage, they're lying to you. So yeah, and now I have a new home for my 45 ammo. I love 45. So let's do a quick compare and contrast. Alright, guess which one of these is newer? You're correct, it's this one. Can't fool you. So yeah, this is Smith & Wesson E Series. It's quite a bit newer. And as you can see, they have made more than a handful of modifications. So both are clear, both are safe. So starting with the magazine. Nowadays, most of your new ones are going to come with an 8-rounder instead of a 7-rounder, but they're completely interchangeable. The 8-rounders just stick out a little bit more, give you that extra round capacity. Then working our way up. The 1911A1 has a lanyard loop, which a civilian gun does not. The E Series, of course, has this very nice grip. And then the grip straps here are checkered versus the A1, which has a smooth front, and then these are just serrated. Moving up to the slide here, we can see the little grips are very different. These are deeper, more aggressively scalloped, and you have the front ones for the oh so cool press checking. But the originals work just fine, and you can still just grab and pull. Or you can do the thing you see in Steven Seagal movies, where he's obsessed with press checking, like that, which is just dumb. Don't do that. Then, as you can see, the extractor is on the outside, and on the original, of course, it's internal. One of the things I really do like about the new version, 3-dot sights. I prefer those, and the serration here on the front to cut off the glare. The A1, very basic sights, smooth, but you know what? This thing is just such a tack driver. Oh well. Oh, and the safety has been greatly extended, but mechanically they are pretty much the same, and the trigger on this one, of course, does stick out more. This is the first time I've had these two in the same room. Alright. Now let's take a look at the inside. One last difference. This has the longer beaver tail, so there is no chance of hand bite. Yeah. So I've got these nice and field stripped for you. So looking at these from the top down, they are actually pretty darn similar, except the Smith has a break in the slide there that is still solid on the Remington frame. And then this part here does extend out a little bit. Skeletonized hammer and trigger for a little more showmanship. I'm gonna clean this thing again. Other than that, not too different. Then of course we have the retaining pin, basically interchangeable. Barrel bushings, nothing there. We've got some cat hair on it again. Alright, so now we're going to get to the parts that are hopefully going to be a little different. Yeah, barrels are also essentially identical. That should be interchangeable. Alright, so then we have the two bushings. And let's get out here. So on these here, you can see on the A1, this is solid and knurled, whereas this is open on the Smith. And that ties back into the Smith having a full-length guide rod. And so when the gun cycles, this has to be able to pop through. And on the A1, it's only got the original style short guide rod, so everything can be nicely contained. Other than that, and the Smith then also having this little rubber pad. The cats get up here way too much. Enough of this hair. But it's also got this little rubber butt here on that cushion things. And then we have the frames that are again basically identical, except for the extractor, and this one of course being dirty and this one being very, very greasy. But yeah, These are incredible guns. John Moses Browning developing them and finishing off in 1911 because revolvers were just not the way the military wanted to do things anymore. Had Magnum 357 rounds been around at that point, I could have seen some of the purists still trying to stick with that, because the Army, they stuck with the whole one man, one shot, one kill thing a little too long, and semi-autos were pretty new back then. I could see some people not really liking it. Oh, that's interesting. Again, this is the first time I've had these together. The ejector buttons, this is much bigger. And this has a straight back. I did not realize that before. But, yeah. Can you tell these? I do these just straight off the cuff. They wanted something that was a little more potent than 38 Special and a little easier to load in a hurry than revolvers were, even with the side loading gate. Or not side loading gate, the flip-out cylinder. Because the loading gate, they had that previously on the Peacemakers. And those took forever to load in a hurry. And then they switched over to swing-out cylinders. And those still weren't quite what they wanted. So they wanted a 45. And then developed 45 ACP. And people have been loving it ever since, even though some people have been hating it ever since. Which is just silly. It's such a good cartridge. I love it. Alright, let's get this put back together. So one other thing I wanted to point out that I know does get some new 1911 shooters hung up on. You see this little pin here? If I can get it to focus, maybe. There we go. See this little guy here? It is actually spring-loaded. And that is what holds this into place. Yeah, pin here. It's got this little notch in there, and it goes into that. Some people, they feel the resistance trying to put this thing back together. They don't want to break it because this is a pretty stiff spring. It does not want to move easily. And some people don't want to force it, and then they have to wind up going into a gun store or try to find out what they're doing wrong online. They don't want to be embarrassed. And, yeah. So, just so you know, that's spring-loaded. It's meant to move, but it's stiff because it's holding your pin in place. So, if you need a little force to get it on, don't worry, that's the right thing to do. One of the other things that does confound people about putting these back together is this moves. And you need it quite in the right spot for this to line up and go in. And some people will just knock it up out of the way like that, or they try to push it back like that. It can take some finagling to do it correctly, but hey, that's what the internet is for. And it will teach you how to do all this stuff. Also, don't try to put this through like that, like you would a Glock, with the bushing out. That goes nicely in. And then you've got, there we go, these little cuts into it that line up with those grooves, and that'll let you know when it's in place. It clicks. Alright, got that back together finally. A little rusty on doing that, and order of operations is slightly different from how I do it for my Smith with a full-length guide rod, which is a little more, it's a little closer to like newer pistols, but yeah, got this one. They do make a special little wrench for moving the barrel bushing here. I just usually use my thumb, push things down. And then sometimes if you need a little more force, flat end of a round. Yeah. I know how well I shoot this one, which is, not to toot my own horn, Probably the best I shoot any semi-auto. The trigger on this thing is fantastic. Barely any effort. This thing, for something made at the end of World War II in a rush, is just as good. I mean, it's slightly heavier. But it's still real nice. So yeah, you can get versions of this made. The 1911 government model will be this. It just won't have the army marking, stuff like that. Or you can get slightly fancier versions of a 1911. Yeah, but one external safety. These have the grip safety, which, given the size of the gun, greatly confounds little fingers. Yeah, what can I say? John Moses Browning, 1911, he knocked it out of the park. Because they're still making these. They have 2011s, which are double stacks. They have these in just about every caliber you can think of, and then some. Did you know they made some of these in freaking .30 carbine? Because they did, and they might still do on special orders. They make them predominantly in .45, 9mm. I've seen .380 versions. I've seen .50 caliber versions. Though, when you start getting to weird stuff like that, you start noticing bigger differences. They make .38 Super, and 1911 clones are about the only thing I ever see those in. But then again, that's not a hugely popular round around me, so I don't know, maybe there's stuff I haven't seen. They have 22 versions. So, yeah, 1911, made as personal protection sidearm for U.S. soldiers. It's been defending us ever since. It's a great home defense gun. Only advice I'd have is make sure you mount a light on it if you're going to do that. They make some of these that have a rail where you can hook it straight on, or they have adapters that clip onto the front of the trigger guard that you could then, if they stick out with a chunk of rail, you can then put a light on that. Just because I feel that any gun you're defending your home with, you gotta know who you're shooting at. But .45, I think, is one of the best, if not the best, for home defense. Usually capacity isn't your biggest concern, because you're probably dealing with 1 or 2 people breaking in, and a .45 will put a big hole in the first one you see. That, and .45 does tend to dump its energy into the first thing it hits, which means it's not great at penetration, but that means it's also very good at not over penetrating. It will slow down in drywall and the wood of your walls faster than a 9mm or anything like that. It's less likely to blast through your target and then still have enough velocity to really do anything on the other side. Okay, so for the ordering process for the CMP, if you want to get one of these for yourself while supplies last, a couple things you got to know. They have 2 different ways to order. You can either print off and mail in your order with all the documents. That's what I did back in April. However, this summer they did start up the online ordering form. It requires all the same information, but you just submit everything online. So you will need a copy of a valid driver's license, proof of citizenship, a copy of a membership of a CMP affiliated organization. I use the Grand Collectors Association. It costs like $25. You get approved pretty quick. They just send you a digital ID card, and all you do is take a picture of that and you send it in. And then you have to have state affiliated documents. So if your state requires a pistol permit or anything like that, you have to send a copy of that in as well. You then fill everything in. You do not make payment until they're getting ready to ship out. At that point, they will either call you or email you. In my case, they emailed me. They give you an ID link. You go online. You select what grade you want, how many of what you want. There is a lifetime limit to how many of these you can get. Right now, I think it is 4. And that's of any grade. You can't get like 4 rack grade, 4 service grade. No, it's just 4 total across your entire life. So at that point, they won't charge you right away. Then everything gets reviewed. They will let you know if they need anything else. And then after that is cleared up, they send it to the shipping department. Your card will only be charged once it is actually about to be shipped out. That is the only warning you really get. They don't send you a shipping number or anything like that, but you usually don't really need one because they do overnight them. And that will go to your FFL. Then when they process it, your FFL should call you. CMP will provide you shipping information if you contact them in a request to be like, hey, I haven't heard from anybody in a week and I got charged. Can I have my status? And then they'll, at that point, give you your information. For me, they charged it. 2 days later, my local gun store called me up, said it was in. I went, I grabbed it, done. It is more complicated than just going, to a gun show and slapping a wad of cash down on the table. But this gun has already been reworked. All the springs in this thing are really, really tight. And they give a generous amount of grease. So I like this. I was considering getting one of the brand new guns that they make. They did partner with TSUS to make a very good clone of these. It's only like $400, but I don't like turkey. The food I'm okay with. The country, no. I have issues with their politics, but that's me. You do you. So yeah. Alright, so apologies if this one was a little disorganized and rambly, but I'm very, very excited. And yeah, this week I have to get this out to the range and see how it shoots compared to its hip young cousin here. Oh, one other thing with the ordering. You cannot make a specific request for, I want a Colt, or I want a Remington, or I want an Ithaca. You get what they give you. You can put like a little post-it note on there like, please, if at all possible, can I get a Colt, or can I get an Ithaca? I did that myself. I specifically asked, hey, can I get a Colt? I got a Colt Slide, which, you know what? That's good enough for me. I did the same thing when I ordered my M1 through them. I specifically asked for one from Springfield Armory, and that's what they got me. I don't know if the post-it note worked or not, but that's about the only thing you can do. They don't take specific requests. If you call in and demand or anything like that, they might just not sell to you anyway. So be polite. These people do good work. The prices are great. Customer service is really, really nice. And get yourself a piece of history. All right.